You know, Papa.
Figuratively, he bites as hard as he can.
Okay.
And of course, when he puts his fangs into you, you certainly feel it. I think it prickles.
Watch Johnny's bite.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
You know, I've watched you sometimes.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen Hasbanallahu wa ni'ma wakil. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? And yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou prepares a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runneth over, and surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. Hey, assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Johnny's Bite. It's Wednesday. Yesterday we had a lot of rain. Today we're told that a lot more rain will come, and you have to be very, very safe and secure out there. Protect the children as well. Drive safe. Don't overspeed. And let's all come back and watch Johnny's Bite. If you are happy and up and grateful, please share the link, like and share, comment, and tell somebody that Johnny's Bite is on air. Next week, we'll go back to our Let the Retirees Go and Let the Young Grow campaign. Next week, we will go back to it. And I just want to do a little update on the Gehawk situation. I understand that today the ICU, right, Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, will be meeting the management of Gehawk. Already I'm getting indications that the ICU, who are unionists, who receive the dues of these workers who find themselves in a very, very difficult situation, are beginning to beg already. And why are they begging? I find it strange. I find it strange because we're also being told that the managing director says there's a snitch out there who's sending out information to journalists. Well, the people are closer than you think. And as they sang in the song, Udia Sempanka will be in Kawenim. So I see you, you're going there. I find it strange that you're going to beg because the people wanted to lawfully demonstrate, they were prevented. Their salaries have delayed. You're going to beg. Their SNIT contributions have been deducted, yet not been paid. Their Tier 3 pensions have been deducted, yet not been paid. GRA is owed. They have written. They have even gone ahead to write to the bank. There's a water plant, yes, but what about ethanol to produce? And does that make the workers idle? And does that reduce productivity and profitability? Are people being forced to go on leave? Are people being moved around and transferred to other departments because they are seen as not being part of the regime? Have people been prevented from joining or warned not to join the union because they were brought in by a certain team? And this is where I want the Office of the Special Prosecutor to pay attention to Gehawk. With respect to procurement issues and respect to warehouse issues and all the others. Special Prosecutor, focus your attention there. This is just a teaser. I'll come back to it. But I see you as you go today, be a union. Don't go begging. Because if you are a union and your members who pay their dues to you don't find you as the first port of call, and this matter has traveled for more than 3-4 weeks before you now are going there and your first intention is to go and beg, I find it problematic. Maybe they should leave all of you. This morning, I want to tell you about a young man who I've had opportunity to work with, school with. I think he's one of the fine gentlemen. He has intentions of leading the Ghana Law School SRC. Please put a picture up there quickly for me. Ghana Law School SRC. And he's number 2 on the ballot sheet. So there are many things that he wants to do for the Ghana Law School. And I've had to personally do this because I sent my people to go on campus to also have conversations with, some of the students, and they tell me that he sounds like the man who can take them to the next level. He sounds like the man who can lead them to where they want to go. Now, what does this gentleman want to do? Focus on the picture, please. This gentleman says he wants to give them a multimedia lecture room. The man says he wants to release exam results via student information portals. The man says he wants to have a timeous release of results, remarked or retallied results. Yeah, that's what he says he wants to do. And then he is also talking about one student, one MiFi. Interesting. So I asked him, is this one student, one MiFi same as one free internet for every student, as we've been told? And because we have not seen a complete achievement of that, one student, one laptop. I said, no. This is a different game altogether. Because one student, one MiFi is a totally different thing. It's actually being implemented in other campuses. Why can't the law students get a hold of it? So these are his intentions for the Ghana Law School. And if you're a student of the Ghana Law School, you want to go with somebody who has been tried and tested, worked in the media, somebody who's also a consultant, has reported in the courts. And if you know how it is to report from the courts, accuracy is important. For somebody to have reported from the courts and from Parliament, accuracy is essential, because if one slip and you could be held for contempt. So please, between now and when the elections end, if you haven't already voted and you're going to vote, vote number 2, 62 Don Ulo, for SRC president for the Ghana Law School. It's important that you do. But this morning, the main meat of the matter is Dr. Bawumia's gold for oil that he called a novelty. Back in school, when we studied social anthropology of Africa, we were taught about barter trade, reciprocity and balanced reciprocity and all of that. But Dr. Bawumia came to tell us about 6 or so months ago that his gold for oil is a novelty. Listen to him as he tells us what gold for oil will achieve. Listen.
To build up our reserves in gold. And the gold program started last year, and it is proceeding quite well. But to address this fundamental challenge that we all face of the persistent depreciation and its impact on fuel, in utility prices, food, and so on, government has opted to implement a policy of using our gold to buy oil products. That is something new. And it is the barter of sustainably mined gold for oil. And this is one of the most important economic policy changes in Ghana since independence. If we implement it as we have envisioned, it will fundamentally change our balance of payments and significantly reduce the persistent depreciation of our currency, with its associated increases in fuel, electricity, water, transport, and food prices. Why would it stop these persistent increases in fuel, water, and food prices? It is very simple. This is because the exchange rate, whether you are looking at the spot exchange rate or the forward exchange rate, will no longer directly enter the formula for the determination of fuel or utility prices once we implement this, because the purchases of fuel and for transport and utility is going to be in cedis. It's not going to be in dollars. So because you're buying that fuel with gold, that is where the exchange takes place. But once you sell that fuel, you sell it in cedis. And then the Bank of Ghana uses those cedis to buy more gold and buy the oil, you sell it, and then it goes around in that way. But essentially, you are taking the exchange rate out of the equation. Today, our fuel prices are being priced at an exchange rate, a forward exchange rate of 19 cedis to the US dollar. Today, what we are paying at the pump is being priced at 19 cedis to the US dollar. So you can imagine when you price without the exchange rate in the formula, which is what is going to happen. We've already done some simulations. Then you will see that the prices of fuel will come down. And similarly, for PURC, if the exchange rate doesn't enter the equation, which it shouldn't because the transactions will be in cedis, similarly then electricity tariffs will also have to come down. Because what you are now going to see, because one of the biggest, when you look at what drives fuel price increases, what drives electricity price increases, and therefore the cost of doing business. It's fundamentally the exchange rate.
Did the vice president speak the truth on this occasion? Did he give us the facts? Because the government seems to be lost in its own narrative that the fuel price that they met, which was for a full gallon of fuel, less than 5 cedis. We are now buying a liter of fuel for how much? And the government seems to suggest that the prices have come down. How do you compare what was less than 5 cedis for a whole gallon to now a liter? Gold for oil. And the realistic questions are being asked over and over again. He spoke about utility. ECG prices have gone up. Water has also gone up. We still have the gold for oil. Is the Bank of Ghana pulling out of the gold for oil? And are they going to pull out because it's an IMF requirement? And did our champion economists not know that this was going to set us into a ditch? In fact, Honorable Kennedy Japan, who also wants to be president just like Dr. Baumia, when this started, he said it doesn't make sense. Why don't we sell our gold, get our own money, and go and buy the oil that we want? Like I always tell people, say, oh, we're trying to give you, the opportunity to. I say, boss, no, I'm doing this for you. Pay me. If you pay me, I can do whatever it is that you're seeking to do for me without paying me. So then the question now is, how much of our gold has been sold and who has been buying the gold, as Dr. Steve Mantia, our former boss of PIAC, is asking? There's too much opacity around the gold for oil deal. And guess what Mr. Bemboachi said? Mr. Bemboachi works at a place called ASEP. They are CSO, and this is a place where Mr. John Peter, who is Minister for Railway, and then also Ms. Amin Anta, right? I seem to be missing it. Please put up that link for me, or the screenshot, whichever it is. He is suggesting that politicians are lining up their pockets. He said politicians making cash from failed gold for oil. Hence, the difficulty to stop it. Listen. He says politicians making cash from failed gold for oil. Hence, difficult to stop. Is it true? Because the vice president has suddenly started talking about the economy. So it is a good time to ask him, now that the vice president is out of hiding and now is confident to talk about the economy because he thinks it's rebounding, the executive director for the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Bemboachi, says the government has found it difficult to stop the infamous gold for oil policy despite myriad of challenges, as the policy only lines money in the pockets of politicians. Is it true? In the midst of the difficulty, are people profiteering? And the questions of opacity, the lack of transparency, the gold for oil deal has been asked. The question has been asked. How much gold has been taken out of this country? We're told that it was going to be gold for oil. We later found out that it is gold and cash for oil. The argument that Dr. Baumia made at the beginning was that we're just going to give them the gold. They were going to buy the gold and give us money so that exchange rate in the equation will be taken out. Beautiful. Now we are adding money to the gold to buy the same oil. So why don't you sell your gold, make your money, and then take that money and go and buy instead of putting gold and oil? Now Bemboachi is saying that politicians are lining their pockets with gold for oil. That's why they can't stop, even though it has proven to have failed. It's infamous. Those are his words. That politicians are failing to admit. And this is where you want to see your energy minister come into the equation. Dr. Matthew Poku-Prempeh must be speaking. The vice president himself must be answering Mr. Boachi and Dr. Mantia and the rest. They are asking questions. And these questions are critical because since we started this gold for oil, nobody has properly accounted to the people of Ghana Nobody has really told the people of Ghana, okay, so far this is how much gold we have sold. This is how many tons or whatever quantum of oil we have gotten. It says government has not been truthful with its struggling gold for oil policy. Bembwachi, he said this some time ago. We didn't listen to him. Government has not been truthful, which means, in other words, government has been lying about its struggling gold for oil policy. Government has not been truthful. It's a very palatable way of saying that you are telling lies. So this is where the government needs to step forward. If really the intentions are clear, nobody's pocket is being lined. And I was just telling somebody a few minutes ago that, look, GES has said that we are going to start doing tug of war and pillow fight. Whenever government starts conversations like this, education authorities start conversations like this, you ask yourself if there's a procurement element in it. Who will be procuring the pillow for the pillow fight? Who will be procuring the rope for the tug of war? And at this time, when we can't feed primary school children, that is the first thing we are thinking and putting it out there, say, appoint deans of discipline. They are going to get allowances and all of that. Just misplaced priorities, no be brave. But I digress. So the question number one is, Dr. Baumia, good morning to you. You told us that this gold for oil was a novelty, and that the only thing going to be involved is that we dig our gold, and then we take the gold out there, and then we get oil for it, no exchange rate in Tokwabia. And then you said that, well, bleeding is even allowed for the people who don't think that it is a novelty. You said bleeding is allowed. I'm sure the people have bled and maybe have died. Those of us who didn't bleed, who are alive, we are asking you a very simple question. Did your gold for oil policy work or didn't it work? Because now we're paying more for electricity. That's first one. Number two, how transparent was the gold for oil policy? Was it just gold for oil or was it gold and cash for oil? And why did that sudden change and inclusion of cash come into the equation? Number three, Mr. Bembwachi said you have not been truthful with your struggling gold for oil policy. Not true? Number four, he says political pockets are being lined. Just say while the country is suffering and in pain, people are cashing out. Is the government cashing out? Is it a cash out government? Have you selected option 4 on your Momo? Are you cashing out? Number 5, at this point, what length do we need to travel? Because the IMF says we have to review. And in this country, we have had intellectuals right to the very, very top who have told us that a review means cancellation. So now that the IMF is asking for a review, does it also mean cancellation? Number 6, we are happy that you are back and away from hiding and now in the public limelight because you say the economy is rebounding and all of that. You are wooing investors. Beautiful. But you have a lot of questions to answer regarding the gold for oil, particularly because you were the champion of that initiative, gold for oil. And how much did the Bank of Ghana pump into it? How much did the government of Ghana pump into it? And how much did the people of Ghana benefit from it? Or how much were the people of Ghana shortchanged for it? Critical questions. So the exam time is now. Invigilators have given you the paper. You know your index number. You have written your name, sir. Please, start work. Good morning.
You know, I've watched you. Sometimes our people disagree with you, but